Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
It's that time of year again when the beef industry comes together for education, networking, business, and family fun. We'll bring you coverage from CattleCon 25, the cattle industry's largest annual event.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Ochsner. Thanks for joining us as we bring you special coverage from CattleCon 25 in San Antonio, Texas. Now, it's not too late for you to join us at this one-of-a-kind event. Walk-in registrations are accepted through Thursday, and you can even purchase a one-day pass if you just want to come, make a brief visit, and check out the trade show. Joining me now to discuss some of the business that'll take place at CattleCon is Ethan Lane. He's NCBA's Vice President of Government Affairs. Ethan, let's begin by just telling our viewers a little bit about how this convention this week really shapes what you do the entire year in DC.
Well, there's no other time, there's no other venue in the country where you're going to have 8,000 or 9,000 cattle producers all under one roof from every corner of the country, all of them here with different priorities that are critical to their operation in their part of the world. All here to talk about how we can work together as an industry and bring the grassroots to a common position that we can deliver to Washington. We're all watching the news. We know how complicated that environment is back there. And to get this many producers and perspectives together in one place and come out of here with common goals is a game changer to keep our industry thriving and growing into the future.
And speaking of that environment in DC, we have a new but somewhat familiar administration taking charge as we speak. What does that mean to cattle producers?
Well, it really gives us a leg up in getting to know the new administration. You know, these are folks that we've worked with before. We know how President Trump does business. We did well in the last administration. He likes cowboys. He likes us. And it's really nice to have a dialogue on day one. Hey, Mr. President, welcome back. We're glad you're here. Here's what's been on our mind the last 4 years and where we think you can be helpful. And that's what we've been doing in this first couple days of the new administration, is communicating our producers' priorities to the president and his team as they take control of the federal agencies and start to implement his policies. It's really unique to be in this situation with such a known quantity. We haven't done this before, and it's been really interesting to do it this way after, usually you're kind of flying blind the first few weeks, but this is a whole new deal, and I gotta say, so far, we've really enjoyed that dialogue.
That's good. Give us a little behind the scenes look at what you're doing now to build and in some cases reestablish relationships both with the administration as well as Congress.
Well, obviously there's always something going on in the cattle industry, and we've been dealing with the border closure due to New World screwworm. There's this ongoing conversation about tariffs. So there was no sort of rest period as the new administration came in. It was quite literally, glad you're back. We need to talk, right? We have some issues we need to work through. We need your help with some things. We need to clear some things that got stuck in the last administration. And that's really kind of how we've started that discussion. Okay. Coming out of the Biden administration, we were pleased to see Secretary Vilsack on his way out wave the white flag on the Packers and Stockyards rules, that massive overreach that we saw, not just in this last administration, but in Tom Vilsack's last time in that chair in the Obama administration. This has been a legacy item for him, and his acknowledgement on the way out the door that there's just nothing else to do here on the cattle side was a huge win for our industry and a huge acknowledgement. And so it kind of helps us focus on other things getting into this new administration. We have the ongoing implementation of the electronic ID rule. We have ongoing issues with disaster assistance for producers that are still struggling around the country. We're hearing a lot of concern about how FSA offices are processing programs for producers across the country. There's a lot of work to be done in a short amount of time to just make sure people are getting the service delivery they expect out of USDA and that they're focused on core mission. I think there's been an impulse over the last few years for some side quests, and it's really nice to see them refocus on core mission in those buildings and get back to serving producers across the country.
Yeah. So why is it so important to the sustainability of our industry that we get people involved and engaged, and that you're representing multiple voices in DC?
Well, you got to remember how small we are in the grand scheme of things. We are the largest section of American agriculture, and we have 700,000 or 800,000 cattle producers from coast to coast. But in the grand scheme of things, when you think about all of those different industries that have priorities, that are in Washington with lobbying operations and folks like me and my team working for their different industries, and I talk about this a lot, no matter who you are, no matter how you spend your time, somebody is being paid to represent your interests in Washington, whether you know it or not. So having that voice and knowing that when we talk to members of Congress, when we talk to senators, when we talk to the president and his administration, it's not just us making it up. It's not just us cooking it up, with a few people around a table. It is really the product of 44 state affiliate organizations, countless county cattlemen's associations, true grassroots from coast to coast. Yeah. And that's a really impressive tool to be able to use in Washington, and it lets us cut through a little bit of that noise and maybe sometimes punch above our weight a little bit, which is what we like to do.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to the year ahead and certainly working with maybe a more friendly administration in Congress. Good luck in everything you do to represent all of us in the beef cattle industry.
Thanks, Kevin.
Now remember, it's not too late for you to be here and lend your voice to the future of the beef industry. You can even purchase a one-day registration if you just want to make a brief visit. It might be the best investment you'll make all year in your business. Get all the details at the website convention.ncba.org. This can't-miss event also offers us a chance to say thank you for a job well done to Mark Isley as his time as president of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association comes to a close. Mark joins us now. Mark, tell us just a little bit as you reflect back on this year. What are you most proud of?
Just about everything. Proud to be a member of the cattle industry. Proud to meet the people who are part of the cattle industry. Relished the time in the different country I saw and the different adverse environments where people raise cattle. What a great bunch. I couldn't be prouder to be part of this industry.
Yeah, I agree. You've had a chance to speak to lots of cattlemen and women all across this country. I'm curious, what has been a couple of your key messages that you've shared?
Well, you should be a member of NCBA.
Yeah.
We push forward. We have the most credible voice in Washington, D.C. We're the ones who are there when they need us in emergency. We're the ones that try to propel them forward to make them work well in a business environment at the speed of commerce, and just partake of the things that we offer. I also got to spend some other time looking at what they do. Part of my job, as much as anything, not to talk, but is to listen. See what they need, see what they're hearing, see what they need help with.
Yeah. And let's go there for just a minute. As you've listened to lots of folks across the country, clearly we've got record demand and record high prices, but certainly some challenges. What are they telling you throughout this last year?
They're concerned about trade. Okay. See how that's going to turn out. The big one was the administration. Are we going to have a change in administration? We can get some relief from regulations and rules and onerous court decisions. That was a big deal for folks to get some relief that was going to happen. Yeah. We may not have it whipped, but we have an opportunity. Now we actually have some inroads and some ability to give some advice to the incoming administration. That's huge. I also listened a lot about the disaster problems, flood, fire, anything in between, and what we could do to help, or at least redirect resources to help them with that.
That's outstanding. And you mentioned it earlier in one of your other questions, but I want to ask it specifically. Why is it so important for beef cattle producers to become members of this organization?
My favorite theme for years has been strength in numbers. There's strength in numbers when we go up and we present something, fight something, whatever the case might be. That shows that we're organized, we're together, and we're speaking with one voice.
That's fantastic. Mark, thank you for all the time you spent away from the ranch serving our industry and our members. We appreciate it.
Been my pleasure. Would do it all over again if I had to.
Thank you. Now, to keep up to date on the issues facing cattle producers and to help make a difference in the industry, why not join Mark as a member of NCBA? It's easy to do. Just call 866-233-3872 or visit the website ncba.org. Use the promo code C2C when you sign up and you'll receive a special gift. Still to come, we'll visit the cattle demonstration arena to see how the live stockmanship lessons can make a difference for you and your herd. That story when we return. Stay with us.
Handle feed, waste, and other materials on your operation with John Deere equipment. Weigh feed on the go with dynamic weighing. And move materials faster without spilling with the Level to Horizon feature on 6R tractors. Move and stack bales easily, and clean up brush and debris with improved grapple work on 5 Series tractors. Get into tight spaces with skid steers and wheel loaders, and check calves, fences, and more with John Deere Gators. Ask your John Deere dealer to learn more.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. There are big benefits to being a member. You'll get industry news in the National Cattlemen, email updates in the NCBA Beef Bulletin, plus discounts just for NCBA members. Join by calling 866-233-3872 or online at ncba.org.
Did you know you can get reimbursed for attending cattle industry educational events? The Rancher Resilience Grant helps cattle producers attend valuable programs such as Cattlemen's College and Stockmanship and Stewardship training sessions. Local, state, and national events qualify for the grant, and successful applicants can receive money back to help cover registration fees and hotel expenses. To apply for the Rancher Resilience Grant, go to ncba.org and click on the Producer tab.
Welcome back. Safe and effective cattle handling can lower the risk of injury to cattle and people while improving the performance of both. Those are two things that can have a real impact on your bottom line. Let's toss it over to reporter Russell Nemitz for more.
Well, one of the highlights each year at CattleCon is the NCBA trade show. As part of that, all of the live cattle demonstrations. And with us to talk a little bit more about what's happening here at CattleCon 25 is livestock handling expert Dean Fish out of Arizona. And Dean, let's talk about, there's a lot of excitement going on as they put this trade show together. And of course, your area of expertise, where these participants can come and see real live cattle handling demonstrations.
Yeah, it's always a highlight for convention goers to come over here. And so we have a demonstration arena and we have a shoot and scales showdown. So the demonstration arena, we'll start out on Tuesday night with our open. We'll have a cattle dog demonstration going on over there. And then we'll have one session where 3 different chute manufacturers are going to show hydraulic and manual chutes, show how they work. And we'll actually run live cattle through those chutes there. So participants will get a chance to, hear kind of about the chutes, but actually see real life how they work. What are those features that, make this, brand X better than brand Y, or what are you looking for? So kind of a cool way to see chutes. Anyway, we move into Wednesday. We continue with our Shoots and Scales Showdown. Wednesday is our Stockmanship and Stewardship Day, and we have the world-famous Kurt Pate and Ron Gill that are coming. That'll be leading those sessions. We also have Neogen, who's our sponsor in there, and they'll be doing stuff from chute-side BQA to how do we settle cattle down when we get them, horsemanship, all the standard stockmanship stuff that just people love to come and see and just pick their brains about. Move into Thursday. Thursday in the demo arena, we'll have Cattlemen's College. We have several sessions in there that you can go get some CEUs, you can get your BQA certification, and we'll continue with the Shoot and Scale Showdown.
Well, it truly is one of the highlights here at CattleCon, and the best part about this convention and this trade show is for folks that are close to Texas, close to San Antonio this year, you don't have to come for the whole thing. You can come on into San Antonio here at the convention center and even do just a day or two.
Yeah, I'm not only helping with this, but I'm a cattle producer in southern Arizona. I'm a proud NCBA member, and I love coming here. We've got about 10 acres of everything from the latest syringes to chutes to all types of cattle handling equipment, fashion stuff, for Valentine's Day. I mean, just all kinds of cool stuff that help me to make my job easier, just like NCBA does. And you know what? You can just sign up for a one-day trade show registration. Come on in, check that stuff out.
You bet. The one and only Dean Fish from Arizona. Nothing says I love you ahead of Valentine's Day than a cattle shoot or some panels. Anyways, join us here in San Antonio if you can. In the meantime, for more details and to do exactly that, you can visit convention.ncba.org.
Now be sure to tune in to Cattlemen to Cattlemen over the next several weeks as we bring you interviews with beef industry experts, cattle producers from across the country, and other highlights from CattleCon 25. You can also follow NCBA on X, Facebook, and Instagram for live updates on all the happenings at this year's event. Still ahead, we'll take a closer look at how the Cattlemen's Beef Board works to increase demand for U.S. beef around the globe. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Cattle producers across the country work hard to care for their animals and their land. The USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service is there to help. Find out how you can work with NRCS to develop a conservation plan for your operation. Find possible funding resources for implementing conservation practices, or get free expert advice on ways to improve your farm or ranch. Visit the website nrcs.usda.gov today.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. NCBA is the oldest and largest national cattle industry organization working to defend your interests in Washington, D.C. And there are big benefits to being a member. You'll get news you can use in the National Cattlemen, email updates in the NCBA Beef Bulletin, plus big discounts only for NCBA members. Join by calling 866-233-3872 or online at ncba.org.
This beef quality assurance tip is funded by the Beef Checkoff.
Hi, I'm Dan Buskirk, Beef Extension Specialist with Michigan State University with a beef quality assurance tip. Using the injection triangle in the neck eliminates beef product defects in more valuable cuts of the carcass, such as the top butt and the round. And blemishes in the neck are more easily trimmed or easily removed at harvest. Always administer injections according to the manufacturer's labeled instructions, and when the label allows the choice of route of administration, choose subcutaneous over intramuscular to further reduce the possibility of injection site lesions. The lower boundary of the injection triangle is above the cervical vertebrae in the middle of the neck. The upper boundary is below the nuchal ligament, which is 2 to 3 inches below the top line. The posterior boundary of the triangle is in front of the shoulder. Regardless of the age of the animal, do not give injections in the rear leg or the rump. Make certain everyone on your team is BQA certified and uses the injection triangle. For more information on injection site management and record keeping, visit bqa.org.
The Beef Quality Assurance Program is funded by the Beef Checkoff.
Every dollar that beef producers invest in their checkoff is leveraged towards the goal of building beef demand. And joining me now to talk about these efforts is Andy Bishop, Kentucky Cattleman and the 2024 chair of the Cattlemen's Beef Board. Andy, why is the beef checkoff so important to all of us as beef cattle producers?
Well, the checkoff is founded on 3 main pillars: promotion, research, and education. And when we talk about the work that has to go on to fill those pillars, it'd be impossible for us to do as producers outside of our daily jobs and activities to get out and promote our product. And so by contributing to the checkoff, we have a group of individuals that are out promoting, building the research foundation that we need to give consumers satisfaction in our product, but also to educate consumers about what we're doing on our farm and ranch each and every day and the nutritional values that our product has.
Andy, tell us a little bit about some of the work the checkoff oversees and how those programs advance the beef industry.
Yeah, so the U.S. Meat Export Federation is one of our largest contractors, and they're working on our behalf in over 80 countries to promote our product. And Kevin, it's products that we have a hard time selling here in the United States, liver, tongue, tripe, those type products that consumers don't see value in here in the U.S., but consumers abroad do see. And so the U.S. Meat Export Federation works really hard to get those products out, add value. As a matter of fact, the recent studies showed that over $400 of added value to every carcass is attributed to the work that they're doing in the export market. And that trickles down to cow-calf producers like me in the value of my calves at the farm.
Absolutely, we appreciate that. You're going to have lots of meetings this week here at convention. I'm curious, share with our producers how those meetings and those discussions will shape the direction for the checkoff over the next year.
Yeah, so we've got 99 board members on the beef board. The Federation sends members as well to hear from our contractors. We've got 7 national contractors to the checkoff. They're doing updates, mid-year updates on programs that were approved at our operating committee in September. And so those members of our beef board get to hear from those contractors. But one thing unique that we're doing doing this year is an added little bonus or an added little benefit, and we're giving producers an opportunity to give feedback to those contractors mid-year on the programs that they're administering, but also talk about other programs that they'd like to see. We think it's important for our producers to have that voice, bring that voice up from their states that they represent, and be able to give that feedback to those contractors. I'm excited to see some of the feedback that they give this time, but also to learn maybe these programs happened in the past and we're not doing them currently because they weren't successful, but we could revisit those. Contractors seek that advice and look forward to hearing that, and that gives our producers a larger voice as well.
Any final thoughts you'd like to share with producers about their checkoff investment or the work you all are doing on our behalf?
Yeah, I think it's important for all producers to know what the checkoff is doing. Anytime you're spending money on a program from your operation, it's important to know what that program is doing for you, what kind of return you're getting on that investment, but to know the ins and outs. We recently did a 5-year study on an ROI. Return on investment showed $13.41 for every dollar we contributed to the checkoff. It's a really good return on our investment. It shows that we're being efficient with those dollars, but more importantly, as a producer, I think it's important that you know those programs, spend some time going to beefboard.org, seeing what those programs are out there on your behalf, and then being able to tell that story to those producers around you, but also consumers, and share your story. Don't be afraid to be that voice.
You've done excellent work, and we're seeing it both in terms of the pounds of product we're selling and the price we're selling that product for, so thank you for all you've done.
Thank you.
Now, if you want to learn more about the great ways checkoff dollars are being used to increase beef demand, just visit drivingdemandforbeef.com, or you can head on over to beefitswhatsfordinner.com. You'll also find great beef recipes that are sure to be a hit at your next meal. Still ahead, we've got details on what it takes to set up the NCBA trade show, which is always a sight you've got to see to believe. Stay with us.
Are you concerned about the impact government policies could have on your cattle business? One way to make your voice heard in Washington is by joining NCBA. When you join, you'll be part of the nation's oldest and largest national cattle industry organization that has a professional team working in Washington, D.C. on issues that matter to cattle-producing families nationwide. Don't stay on the sidelines. Make your voice heard by joining NCBA today at the website ncba.org.
Cattlemen and women are dedicated to managing their land and cattle in a sustainable way. They want to leave a legacy for future generations. For more than 30 years, the Environmental Stewardship Award has worked to honor these caretakers of the land and to share their stories. To find out more and to learn how you can nominate a farm or ranch for the Environmental Stewardship Award, visit the website environmentalstewardship.org.
Putting together CattleCon 25 here in San Antonio took a monumental effort, and the NCBA trade show alone requires months of planning and a few hard days of setup. Joining us now to talk about these efforts is Kristen Torres, NCBA's Executive Director of Meetings and Events. Kristen, I can only imagine the amount of work you and your team go through to plan this event. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing the last couple of months.
Last couple of years, honestly, we try to be booked out for the convention about 10 years out. Wow. So, and we start working on the event about 18 months out. So, and then at the last, it's kind of a sprint there at the end as we get close to the event.
What about the trade show? What can you tell us about that this year?
The trade show is 100% sold out this year. So we have about 9 acres of exhibit space. Anything producers could want or need for their operations. We have equipment companies, we have nutrition companies, we have a shopping area, all kinds of stuff on that show floor.
It's absolutely phenomenal. And one thing I've noticed since I started coming here 15 or more years ago, I suppose, is seems like you continue to add a lot more educational events to the trade show. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the trade show really is more than just a trade show, and that's kind of what sets us apart. So we have several different areas on the show floor that offer education. Learning Lounge and Cattle Chats are kind of your classroom style education. The Cattle Chats are real short sessions, about 15 minutes, and then we build 2 arenas on the show floor where we have live cattle handling sessions. It's a great opportunity for folks to really, like I said, find what they need for their operations, but also get some education as well.
You can literally spend all day in there and not get bored. There's no doubt about that. So tell us this, what kind of feedback do you get from producers who come maybe for the first time? I mean, what's their general perception of the trade show?
A lot of times they're very overwhelmed with how much is there when they walk in the door. But we get a lot of great feedback because we have the products that they need.
Yeah.
It's the one-stop shop, all these things under one roof for producers. We try to make it really easy for them. And we know a lot of people don't have a lot of time to invest, so even if they can get away just for one day, we try to pack it all in there so they can get everything that they need.
And I love you get to talk to the product leaders and folks that know everything about the products and services that are there. It's a phenomenal place to learn about everything that's essential and vital to our businesses. Thank you for all you and your entire team do to pull off this great event.
Yeah, thank you. We love it.
Now, don't forget, you can tune in to Cattlemen to Cattlemen over the next couple of weeks for more coverage of CattleCon 25. You can also follow along with our crew from CattleCon on the NCBA X, Facebook, and Instagram accounts. Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week, right here on RFD TV.